And blessed to be part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. Well, we've made it through 2 weather reports without saying Larry Beefcake, so we'll see if we can make it 3. Coming up, today's Kevin Miller Money cash code word, shoes. That is code 2 for today, shoes. Go to KIDOTalkRadio.com right now for your chance to enter that cash code 2 for today and win up to $5,000. The more winners, the more words, the more winners, the more chances to win. Don't forget to listen today at 3 for the code word at 3:05 with Sean Hannity. Remember, today's code word, shoes. So listen at 6:05, 8:05, and 3:05. Joining us now, our great friend, candidate for lieutenant governor, former chairman of the state Republican Party, former White House administrator. I was going to say administrator, but staff. Steve Yates joining us now. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
You know, I like to have full disclosure and full transparency. I've known you since 2012. As many people that have listened to this program, I've admired you. I consider you a friend in a friendless world. So I have a bias when it comes to speaking with you. I've, again, much admiration for you. And, you know, I'm seeing what's going on with the lieutenant governor's race and seeing how things are going. And to me, we're talking a little bit before about the governor's race, about accusations going back and forth, and your thoughts on what you're facing, not only campaigning for lieutenant governor, but some of these attacks, personal and professional, that have happened to you in the past, sir.
Well, thank you, Kevin, and the feeling is mutual. You are my favorite man of the morning, and I appreciate you doing what you do for our state. But, I of course welcome any candidate for office in Idaho stepping forward to denounce the vicious and negative attacks against me. Of course, we all would. And I do think that it's really, really important that people make the best positive case for their public service. I always said that as chairman. I've lived that way myself, I think, upholding that standard, and I've said it through the course of this campaign. And every candidate for lieutenant governor has heard me repeatedly say that at Lincoln Days and other speaking opportunities in a public forum. I am prepared to live by that, sticking to that notion. And I think the way we really push beyond some of the gutter politics that happens from time to time is just prove that real experience, real ideas, with real support around the state is what wins. And that's what I'm aiming to do in the lieutenant governor's race, meeting with some degree of success, which unfortunately then makes me the only one worthy of attacking him.
Yeah, I don't understand this, and without to give any of these attacks any attention, just the idea that you've come in, you've committed, and, you and I have joked since our first lunch with J.D. Hayworth back in the day when you were here for Newt Gingrich in the Treasure Valley helping us out, that everybody's skeptical, and I'm thinking to myself, I've seen you, and to me, when we have good people getting involved in politics, we need people like you. We need people like other folks that are jumping in. And when you have these attacks that just don't make any sense, it demeans the process. So when people say, well, former Chairman Yates, he's an operative, he's this, he's that, how do you respond to that?
Well, I try to basically just tell the truth about what I've done in my life. I mean, there are people who say, well, he's a political consultant, and I haven't actually spent a day of my life as a political consultant. I am a business consultant that advises clients overseas about how to navigate the politics of other countries. But when I served in D.C., I served for the Defense Department, the Heritage Foundation, and the White House for Vice President Dick Cheney during a consequential time. If that's the D.C. swamp, then I'm guilty. But I don't think that when people are talking about the swamp and the things that ail national politics, things in America, they're talking about faithful people who serve alongside the uniformed military and the Defense Department, the conservative think tank that leads the world in the Heritage Foundation, or going into the White House and trying to do the best you can for your country, working on national security. And I do think that some of that experience is relevant to what we do in Idaho. We have some amazing people in our state that are solving some of the world's most pressing problems, from cybersecurity to energy security, and economic development and trade are very relevant to a lot of these things. I'd like to believe that having served in those ways matters to people. But, it's fair game if people have spent their careers in the legislature and they want to say that is the only path to statewide office. That's their case to make, and I respect them making the best case they can for themselves. And we just let the voters sort out what they think would add greatest value to the next governor of our state and add value to our economy and our people.
Let's get to the issues involving the lieutenant governor's race. Obviously, pro-life is a big issue, not the caller, but the issue itself. Many people wonder why somebody, in fact, we had someone call in last hour say, I wish some of the people running for lieutenant governor would be running for governor. Why do you think we have such a distinguished field running for an office that isn't compensated nearly as well as the chief executive or as a congressman in the first CD? Why do you think so many people like yourself, or let's just say of unique and accelerated backgrounds who've accomplished a lot, are running for this number 2 job?
Well, I can only really speak for myself about why I do it, and I have been flattered that there have been people from time to time that say, we wish you were running for the governorship or some other race, and that's very, very kind of people. They mean well when they say these kinds of things. My own consideration was when I was stepping down as party chairman and looking at what to do next with my life, I looked at what lieutenant governors have done currently and in the past, and the focus on economic development, especially bringing trade and investment opportunities into our state. Well, that's something that's been an important part of my life. I've been a part of presidential business development missions. I've been a part of business associations that have worked on trying to bring opportunity into the United States. And personally, I've done some things to try to bring opportunity into Idaho. I just haven't advertised it. And I thought that, this kind of aligns with things that I do anyway and would be, I think, of value added to a new governor and to the state. And I looked at the current lieutenant governor being the co-chair of the Leadership in Nuclear Energy Commission, dealing with issues ranging from cybersecurity to energy security to a host of things where the science and spin-off economic development is really important to Idaho. And I'm the only person that's even considering running for these statewide offices that's actually had policy experience at the national level and internationally that touches on those roles and missions. Would like to believe that would add some value to that process for the state. The more I thought about it, and having traveled the state, engaging people at the grassroots level, I really care about some of the faith-based organizations, addiction recovery programs, the mental health challenges that we have. I think that those are actually getting in the way of teachers being effective teachers, law enforcement officers being effective at their mission, and I want to try to work together, tying the grassroots with state policy making. And I thought, this is part of my life experience. I'm not running away from the fact of where my mother chose to give birth to me. There's nothing I can do about that, and I still love her. But I lived where I lived. I've experienced what I've experienced. I've served for 3 years as a volunteer chairman for the Idaho Republican Party, engaging people all around the state. And as far as I know, I'm the only candidate in the race that has been multiple times to all 44 counties of Idaho before deciding to run for statewide office. And so my hope is that people will see a sufficient degree of commitment. My children are here. My wife is a teacher in this state. Our current life and future is all here, and that's why I run. I care about those things. I hope that that's something that will matter to Idaho families and businesses.
Steve Yates joining us, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. Kevin Miller here at KIDO Talk Radio. Look, as you know, and most of the people in the media, we're a bunch of whiners. We're spoiled. We're pampered. We're whiners. Could you indulge me to tell me the sacrifices you go through to campaign, and not only to campaign, but when you were the chairman, we used to joke about the miles on the odometer on the Jeep and such. I mean, it's a lot of time away, and sometimes I believe most of us don't get that. And people, he signed up for it, but Idaho is a big state.
Idaho is a big state. When I was chairman, I went through 6 windshield replacements, and also drove just under 200,000 miles around Idaho. I lost basically $250,000 of business in my consulting practice in order to take the time to really be in Idaho to try to work and engage with people. And that's not to complain, and the fact of the matter is I did sign on to that. It was a big task. It was a commitment. But when I face people say, well, he's a crony, he's pay for play, he's corrupt, whatever, I have yet to see any change in my bottom line from all this alleged corruption. In fact, I did end up spending a great deal of time away from my family. But we signed on to that. My wife knows very much what drives me. It's core principles. It's conservative values. It's what we've done through our entire career, whether it's serving the country, serving the party, serving the conservative movement. It's what I've felt motivated to do in my life. And she knows if I don't do that, I'm not a happy person at home. And so she has been very, very kind in supporting me. And not for nothing, coming up very soon on April 14th, we'll be celebrating our 28th wedding anniversary. So she's very, very much responsible for helping me do what I've been able to do in my life. And I'm grateful for her forbearance and all of it.
Our great friend Steve Yates joining us. Kevin Miller in the morning here at KIDO Talk Radio. What's the number one issue when you're at these forums and you're out on the trail and such when you're asked by folks, whether it's on radio or Facebook or I guess the gang gets together?
Yeah, well, it does change from time to time based on the news of the day. But I think the number one reality that I think defines this election cycle in Idaho is the reality that 2016 changed our national landscape. And we lived under the cloud of the Obama years and, frankly, to an extent, some federal overreach of the administrations prior to that. And now we've got this moment where we're going to have a clean slate with statewide officers and a time for Idaho to choose what do we want to do for ourselves on health policy? What do we want to do ourselves for economic development tax policy? What do we want to do ourselves? Push back against federal overreach in education, lands, whatever the issues might be. And I think that's an exciting challenge, an exciting opportunity. And so when people are talking about things, usually it's going to be in one of those baskets. What can we do now to follow the lead, frankly, of President Trump putting the pedal to the metal on the national economy with deregulation and tax reform? And he's going to be talking a lot about infrastructure in the months ahead. Well, those are challenges we face here in Idaho, too, and what more can we do to be competitive relative to our neighbors? That's pretty high up there. But really pushing the feds completely out of their overreach in education, that touches a lot of families, something we've all lived. And when it comes to the healthcare situation, I mean, I've lived with the pain that a lot of families and small businesses have of having to pay way too much for insurance with high deductibles and not end up getting the care we want or need, and having to pay cash for it when we consume it. And just having to find a way, probably outside of the strict boundaries of insurance, to really do better for the people of Idaho, because the current system for the average family of four can take the equivalent of $15,000 to $25,000 right off the table in an annual income, and that's forcing a spouse to have to go to work. That is taking away any possibility of a family vacation. It's taking away savings for future education for their kids. This is actually a major challenge. So those are the buckets of things that seem to percolate to the top wherever we go.
Steve Yates, if people would like more information on you, your campaign, your vision for Idaho, what can they do, sir?
Thank you, Kevin. They can go to Yates4Idaho.com or find us on social media at Yates, 4 Idaho on Facebook and Twitter, and just encourage them to check out where we stand. Call, email, be in touch. Look forward to engaging people as we continue to go around the state. Thank you so much, Kevin.
A lot of miles on the odometer, friend.
Indeed.
Safe travels. We'll see you when you're back in the Treasure Valley.
Look forward to that. Have a great one, Kevin.
You too, sir. Bye-bye. Our great friend Steve Yates, and again, we'll have continuing coverage of all the campaigns, Lieutenant Governor, Congress, Governor. We work to make it their stop first thing in the morning where they stop by and tell us what they're thinking about. And, we pride ourselves in serving the Treasure Valley, even though other folks have tried to carry this show, have asked about this program. Our focus is right here with you. So at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, we'll start off with something very easy. Negative campaigning, does it work or doesn't it? A lot of feedback over Congressman Labrador's comments concerning Dr. Alquist and this third party, and then you've got the lieutenant governor with the governor backing him up. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then the first CD, which is not getting a lot of attention. We had, Senator Fulcher in here a couple days ago. Your thoughts on that and the lieutenant governor's race. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. 824 with Kevin Miller in the morning. Don't forget, Power Your Education, your chance to win 50 hours of custom learning from our friends at Grade Power Learning in Meridian. All you have to do is write a 100-word essay on why education is important to you, and you could win this package, which includes anything your child needs from study skills, test and assignment support to time management and ACT, SAT prep services. I'll be beginning my classes with them next week, and we'll give you some real-time information. Some of us are grammar phobes. That would be me, and looking forward to I was going to say getting some writing skills, but even now I'm overly sensitive of phrases and such. 825, talking about state politics at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Liberty Linda joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Liberty Linda.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. I'm calling in not to speak negatively about any candidate. I have been verbally attacked because I have said that I like to live by the Spirit and pray about a candidate, and I think the Spirit is the highest authority I can go to. And, I met Steve Yates at your birthday party, and, of course, we've listened to him for years on the radio. But I felt a very good spirit in him. We just chatted for a short while. But, I'm for Steve Yates now. And mainly it's because of the Spirit. And so, anyway, I'm just calling in because of all the things I've been hearing. And I'd rather go by the positive that I know about someone. So that's basically what I wanted to say today.
Well, what do you make of the governor's race? It's getting negative.
I know it is. It's and there are things, as an individual, I can see things that are going on out there. I can see things that are being said that I believe that are the opposite, But anyway, I'd like to stay on the positive vein myself. If somebody is doing something negative and it's incorrect against the law or have done something against another candidate, I think there are measures that they can take. Anyway, I'd rather go on the positive side. And, the persons that I have chosen, I'm for Tommy Alquist. I know him as a good person, and I believe he will do very good for the state of Idaho. And Steve Yates, and, of course, Russ Fulcher I've known for years. He has personal integrity, and I believe he'll always try to make the right and good reason for Idaho, a good decision. So, anyway, that's why I just wanted to call in and be on the positive side and say, let's go for those in whom we think that will be the best. And so basically that's what I want to call in today and say.
Liberty Linda, God bless. Thank you.
Well, yes. May the Lord be with you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Traffic and weather together. And let's go to the phones. Tea Party Bob joins us now at KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. How are you today?
Fighting a cold, and you?
Oh, that's not good. You need to start listening to me about what you're eating. You know that, right?
I haven't heard that before from you.
I worry about you, my friend. Getting into this election, whether it is Tommy or his supporters that decided to go on the attack against his opponents, he's ultimately responsible for what comes out of the campaign. And these false accusations against Labrador tells me that Alquist is getting a bit nervous about his election. A friend involved in the Labrador campaign told me that he even had somebody infiltrate one of the congressman's meetings with his supporters. That's kind of unusual. These false accusations about Labrador are not getting by not getting any of his legislation passed, have been totally disproved. And in fact, we find out that he had 20 bills that he sponsored or co-sponsored passed in 7 years. Tommy has zero experience in any elected public office. And his campaign has been slinging mud around Brad Little just as much as he has Labrador. I don't believe that the decorum that he has shown or his supporters is appropriate, and it's not appreciated by the voters of Idaho. You know, Alquist and his team have accused Labrador of illegal aliens getting help from him and him being easy on them. When if you take a look at Tommy's urban renewal projects, I would like to see if he would open his books to see whether, in any case, he might have even supported the illegal aliens working for his subcontractors. You know, if you're going to accuse somebody with innuendo, you better be squeaky clean yourself. And I just don't see that with Tommy. When we look at his past history of support for Mayor Beater and his close relationship with Bob Kustra, I get a little bit tenuous about, is this guy really a Trojan horse or is he a real conservative? I have to question that in my own mind. You know, he portrays himself as a Donald Trump of Idaho, but he doesn't even come close. When you look at his business experience, Tommy spent 15 years as an ER doctor. He retired in 2014. This means he has only worked as a developer for 4 years. 4 years business experience as a developer doing urban renewal projects doesn't quite equate to 40 years experience that Donald Trump has had. I don't doubt that he's a smart young man, but I can't quite wrap my head around him being another Donald Trump with only 4 years of business experience. This is not the resume I would want to see for our governor. He has far less experience than he is telling people. He might be a great doctor, but what I want is someone who has the past background and experience, not just in the legislature, to be able to run this state the way it's supposed to be run. That's about all I have to say.
Tea Party Bob, jumpstatepatriot.com. As always, sir, we appreciate you.
You have a great day, my friend.
All right. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good.
And let's go to Michelle Polino. Joining us now from Los Angeles, then more of your phone calls at KIDO Talk Radio. Now, we could talk about Chappaquiddick. We could talk about Roseanne. Talk about a lot of things, but what about the Avengers? What about Infinity War?
So, are you excited for the Avengers?
I'm excited to hear what you have to say. It's either that or we're going to talk about your time in Philadelphia. But, you know, you always have the inside skinny on these summer blockbusters. Have we ever seen anything like what Disney is promising us we're going to see from Marvel?
No. I think, you know, if we thought Black Panther had, you know, a tremendous rollout and brought the thunder, I mean, wait till April 27th when Infinity War hits, because, you know, you got all of them. And I think that, God, what a cash cow this is, right? I mean, what an amazing just assemblage of fantastic films. They have the format down pat as far as mixing their characters with humor, telling a great story, and just entertaining folks for 2 hours. And I think with Infinity War, I think it's just going to blow the lid off the box office this year.
Well, I mean, do we have to go back and watch every Marvel film?
No. I mean, the story, it's a simple. It's, you know, they don't go far from their stories. The story is good versus evil. We all know this, right? So, it's one. They have to pretty much band together against a very huge evil force that's, you know, looking to take over and blow up the universe. I mean, this is a kind of, it is a simple story, and it's been expanded into each. It's been a nugget of each, hasn't it? If we're really looking at all our Marvel Marvel stories, it's been a nugget of each. It's the bottom line. It's the good versus evil, and in this one we have the ultimate, and it's like the deadliest showdown of all time, and they have to defeat Thanos before he literally puts an end to not just the world but the universe. So each time it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Before it's like the devastation of the earth. Now we got the devastation of the universe.
Well, it helps that a lot of this is based off of previous comic books, number one. But
Right.
It's easier said than done. I think, are we going to look back after we see Avengers Infinity War and look back at how bad Justice League was in comparison?
Yes. Wow. Yeah. You have what Justice League lost. What Justice League didn't do was understand their characters in a way that I think Disney and Marvel Studio does. And what Justice League failed to do was give their characters humor and depth, and that's why we love these Marvel. I don't know about you, but that's why I love these characters more. I mean, thank God that Patty Jenkins did that for Wonder Woman. She gave Wonder Woman an innocence and a slight, kind of humor that the other ones didn't have. And that's why it was successful. Plus, it was a female superhero film, and I think both men and women were looking for that. So, it's when are we going to have Black Widows stand alone?
Well, I know you could go on and on with Marvel, and the only glimmer of hope I think is from Justice League is they're starting to make Superman optimistic. And even before we had the latest incarnation, the last one with Brandon Routh was not an optimistic Superman. I mean, you go back to Christopher Reeves, George Reeves, Truth, Justice, and the American Way, and I know that's a little sacrilegious in the Chris Nolan world. However, just hearing him being kind of making fun of himself, I thought was one of the highlights, along with Aquaman and Flash for Justice League. But back to Black Panther, did anybody see this one coming?
No, nobody did. And in all honesty, was it a fantastic film? No.
Right.
And when I look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thor was hilarious and fantastic, and I just absolutely love Guardians. I just absolutely love Iron Man. I could never get enough of them. It was more along the veins of Captain America when we're talking. I hope you understand that concept-wise. When we're talking, it didn't use humor as much as the ones that I loved did. It didn't use that kind of, like you said, what they did with Superman in the 70s. Christopher Reeve made fun of himself, and that was funny. And was it the 70s or 80s? They all kind of blend together now.
I'm with you, sister.
But that's where DC lost out and that gave them the human quality that when Justice League came out and they had the darkness of Superman, couple that with the darkness of Batman, and you're like, really? And, Aquaman was emerging as something. He could have had some humor, like talk about a fish out of water.
Literally, I'm with you on that. So is there anything else, Michelle, we should be looking forward to this summer besides Avengers Infinity War? We've got Deadpool, but it's going to be interesting to see how Disney Marvel reintegrates the properties that were sold off to Fox once that happens.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what, again, other than, I think those are the big ones. I can't really think of everything that we have ahead of us in the summer, but those are the big properties, and they all come out. And remember, our movie-going experience is switching. Before, it used to be Memorial Day and July 4th. Now it's kind of switched. Now it's kind of April and August, kind of back end. They're kind of the big ones going into the summer, like April. You got, the Avengers coming out. We got a couple in July, and then August also is appealing to moviegoers. It's a different you know.
Michelle, I gotta let you go, but thank you.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, bye-bye. Boy, she just kind of got lost in it, didn't she? I mean, who would have thought? Superheroes with Kevin Miller. By the way, have you heard about this latest phase? This is from our friends at KSL TV.
Potatoes is what is trending because apparently people don't know what they are.
Yeah, everyone is just now discovering the longtime Utah favorite for the first time after Walmart promoted an ad for them on Facebook. The circulating ads spurred a hashtag funeral potatoes trend on Twitter, and it garnered enough attention to warrant explainer pieces from the Today Show's website, the New York Post, even Fox News. The only people who are seemingly not confused about this, Mormons and Utahns who've lived here for some time. Everybody else is like, funeral potatoes? What does that mean?
KSL Today.
Of course, they didn't explain what funeral potatoes are. Let's go to our good friend, Pro-Life, on his favorite radio station, KIDO Talk Radio.
Yeah, this is the best one. You know, when you're talking about governor candidates, lieutenant governor candidates, people don't ask them very much about the moral questions. Do they believe that abortion is murder? And up at Moscow, you know, they had the transgender surgery doctor take over, you know, and start doing a bunch of transgender surgeries. Nobody wants to bring that up, whether we should make that against the law in Idaho or not.
Well, you bring it up quite a bit.
Yeah, I try to. And nobody talks about the conditions in the prisons. I think the prisons are being neglected, and it's a neglected topic. Those people.
Let's expand on that here at KIDO Talk Radio.
Yeah.
And you consider Governor Otter your friend, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I like him.
You've called him a wimp to his face right here on KIDO Talk Radio. You remember that, right? With me.
He's just a wimpy politician.
Well,
but he's
let me
nice guy.
just hold on. Just roll with me here.
All right.
All right. You have his number, and when we need to get a hold of the governor, because his staff won't put him on with us, we contact you. Is that right? We've used you to get Governor Otter on, correct?
Yeah, but I don't know if I can do that
now,
anymore.
hey, just kind of answer the question, yes or no, would you?
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Please play along with me.
Okay.
So, in the end of an era, where you have Governor Otter saying, "Look what I've done. I fought Obama. Then I joined Obamacare. I've gotten the state through the worst economic crisis in modern day history.
Right.
I've fought for pro-life issues."
Yeah.
It's been 50-50 with him. You could have a pro and con, but the prison scandals that continue. I mean, I hear that we ship people out to these other prisons, and when they get there, they get beat up. You have the one person who, what was it, DUI or something like that, in prison with a killer, and the killer's now charged with killing him. And not to be flippant about that, but that's a crisis. But nobody cares about the inmates. You look at what happened with the internet issue. What was it, $20, $30, $50 million out the door? Nobody held accountable for it. That has to go to somebody. So, is it sexy to say we're going to have prison reform? I suppose if you have somebody in the prison. But if you don't, that's an issue that doesn't garner you a lot of votes because the inmates can't vote. But right. You're right. And I don't know. And I don't know where you start. I mean, who would have the fortitude to do this? Because this is a small state, and you can be marginalized, and you can be isolated, and then you go away. I mean, that's the overall threat. No one's ever threatened that, but that's what's looming out there. If you dig too much, you ever see that movie Kill the Messenger?
No.
Okay. It's a story about Gary Webb. Gary Webb was the guy that exposed Iran-Contra. He worked for, the San Jose Mercury News. Now, in this movie, played by the guy that plays Hawkeye on The Avengers, and I guess the book is just riveting. In fact, I need to get the book. So Gary Webb finds out that we're funding the Contras by flooding South Central Los Angeles with the crack. The powers that be in Washington and in Los Angeles and New York crush this guy. They discredit him. They destroy him. And here's the skinny on this. He never won an award. His newspaper eventually abandoned him. Everybody abandoned him. And his death was listed by suicide with 2 shots to the head.
Gee,
that's what happens when you cross the power structure in today's world. And that happened back in, what, the 80s?
Well, maybe I'll die with 3 shots to the head by suicide. But anyway.
I'm just saying, there's not a lot of upside to telling the truth. I had someone say, yeah, you're right, good for you. Now what?
Well, I think about those prisoners out there. They don't get the right kind of food. They're not nourished right. They don't get enough exercise, and they don't get enough exposure to the gospel of Jesus Christ. And they need to be punished for being mean to each other.
And what happens when they ship them out?
Yeah, right. They should never ship them out.
Yeah.
Even
you better watch out. You and I will be sharing a cell soon.
No, not really. But anyway,
speak
when
for yourself.
Just think, when sperm meets egg, there's a new person on earth, and if you murder that little person, it's a murder.
Pro-life, God bless.
All right, see you.
Coming up next, Terry from State College, Pennsylvania. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Terry in State College, Pennsylvania, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Good morning, Kevin.
How you been?
I've been. Been better, been worse. So I guess I'm doing great. Fine, yeah. Kevin, I don't think Facebook's getting near enough coverage. I don't think people understand the implications of what's happening with their data once it's collected and how it's tied into the, whatever you want to call it, matrix, the big grid, whatever. You have to understand these algorithms that are being formed due to this data, thanks to this data. These algorithms know you better than you know yourself. You can go to Winco, and if it's raining out, you'll probably stop at Albertsons. The algorithms can predict that based upon what they pulled off your phone, what you've watched on television, what you put on Facebook. They know us better than we can imagine ourselves, Kevin. This is definitely the grid, and people need to take notice to what they're sharing out there, what they're doing. And
I think it's too late now.
Well, did you see where Samsung come out with a new technology? I think it's called Unspoil. And you can go to their website, and they will hypnotize you, and you will forget everything about a specific series, say Breaking Bad or whatever, I don't know, and you will hypnotize, then you can watch it all over again. Hello? Is anybody getting this picture out there?
Well, that's a new one. Here's another one, though. Everybody's down with this Alexa. And now they've determined that Alexa is listening to you even when Alexa ain't on. That's why, it's just not when you say Alexa this, but it's feeding information. So me, like you, being a paranoid person, rightfully so, I'm not going to be around these smart speakers. And they go, don't you want Alexa? And I go, nope.
Kevin.
I mean, how lazy do we have to be to have Alexa do this, Alexa do that?
And how many people are sitting in front of a smart TV and the TV's watching them? We were told about that, 3 years ago, I believe?
Well, if anybody watches me watch TV, I'll give you a show. Terry, I got to run.
You have a great weekend, Kevin. Thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you, Terry. Quickly and Chris, good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Good morning. I would just like to give a shout, yes, to I can't remember his name, the fellow that's so pure. Anyway, about our prison system. These guys have to fight to get the education that they've been told they can get. I have firsthand experience, not that I've been in, but it's ridiculous. No, it's not ridiculous. It's sad. It's sad, and it's sinful. That's it.
And it's covered up. Chris, thank you. Any more issues about the prisons? You want the information out? Email me, Kevin at KIDOTalkRadio.com. All sources are kept in confidence. Ray Amaya, great job. Everyone, have a great day. May God bless you and your family and keep the faith.